Dokie. Let me know when it's actually all good.
It's all good.
It's all good? Alright. Hey everybody, welcome back to War Friends. Today me and Mac are going to be view casing a little bit of the more lesser used frames, depending on your viewpoint of that. We're going to be starting out with Volt. Mac, is there anything you'd like to say about Volt? What do you think his strong suits are? What do you think you want to do with them?
Well, Volt is a pretty CC-based warframe in terms of also being another of the few defense frames that we have. Given his kit, he's very good at running around, striking enemies fast, so you want to be fast and tactical when you play him. But you don't want to sit there and take damage.
Of course not. Something that I do find funny, though, is there was a little controversy based on his description about how he is an alternative to gunplay. Depending on your build, I can see how that works, but there's a lot of people that don't run that kind of a build. You know? Here, let me spawn in some Lancers and we can start showing in.
It's all
some
about
of the stuff we're doing.
It's just all about how you play them.
Dun 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 dun.
Yeah, so as you can see, he's pretty good at stun locking enemies in place. So I guess we should start over his powers first. So his first power, as Grim's demoing, is, if I can get it to cycle.
Shock.
Shock. Yeah, I'm not having luck cycling right now. So shock here is a lightning bolt that chains through enemies, stun locking them, and kind of killing them. His second power is speed. I know, it's such a super developed name, but
it's a very basic term for the ability, but it really just kind of describes it all in one go. It's speed. What do you expect? You get fast.
I know, but like shocking speed is the augment. You think? I don't know. Anyway,
that's just you touch people and they get shocked from the damage.
I know. Anyway, speed's capability is when you activate it, he runs faster, also melees faster, and I believe shoots faster, as do the allies that are near it. Now, if you're an ally and you're affected by it, I believe you just do a roll in the air like this, and you can break out of your squad mate doing said speed buff. So some people don't like it, so if you don't like it, just roll.
I don't know why you wouldn't like it, though. I mean, you get a buff
like
and you get to run around at the speed of light.
I've had it where I've fought with Volts that were really slow, so the whole speed buff was just kind of redundant. Now his third power
you can make
is Electric Shield. Now this is probably his best.
Oh, this is the fun one.
Best
so
essentially
you're able to shoot through the shield, increase your damage. What the f Yeah, like that. I don't think I've ever seen a Cycron do that. Or you can go with the fun part, you can electrify the shield, which will also increase the damage even further, and then you can just pick it up and then ram everybody.
It's just highly entertaining. I mean, that's just CC, that's his kit. That's a knockdown. Well, those guys aren't really getting bumped anymore, that's interesting. We will just count that to the Simulacron weirdness.
Luckily, you can still shoot through your. You can still shoot through the shield if you're holding it, and it'll still increase your damage.
The only downside to the shield is when you pick it up, you actually reduce it. But its big benefit in terms of also being defensive is it can take as much damage as the enemy can dish out, unlike Frost's Snow Globe. And you can spam shields like crazy and just create an infinite little barrier around your shot. The enemies can walk through it, though.
One problem, though. What? Well, you can electrify it to fix that problem.
That looks pretty.
Somewhat. Does look pretty.
Looks pretty.
One thing, though, is that if you do pick it up, it wastes your energy so fast. So it's
that's why
if you're going to be picking it up and ramming people, you got to be sure that you either have the energy to spare, you're carrying a lot of pads, or you
yeah, but that's why you
hold it for that long.
You cast speed with it too. That's the synergy between those two powers: speed plus shield.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's fourth power is also just a big AOE of lightning. Now with his augment on it, it grants you and your ally shields. As you see, it's doing ticks here. And I'm getting over shields, as will Grim, if he's standing near me. You can also further enhance this by casting lightning on it. Yeah, we're at max. I mean, it doesn't take long. Now, initially, this was a very good idea done by D.E. Scott to develop this, but they then capped it, which is kind of where it runs into problems later. Also, his innate passive is as you walk here, you'll notice this little plus sign at the top of my screen here. Further amps up the damage you do on your next shot. So as you see, I wasted it by casting it. Now
it
for
caps
melee,
at 1,000 though, so...
Yeah, which is kind of depressing. So what are the problems you would say with his kit, in your opinion, Grim?
Well, first off, the cap is like the hardest hitting thing on him because that prevents him from scaling well at all. Because his kit already allows you to do some pretty decent damage. And with the amount of status procs you can put on somebody, like you can completely lock an area down if you cast Capacitance and then just start shocking everybody. But Capacitance has a damage cap, so the second that cap's hit, it's just negligible damage. And as you see, like, we have to keep shocking. Like, it slowly whittles their health down, but it's like, instead of doing chunks like any other Warframe would, we have to keep recasting it as it goes on in order to keep the damage flowing. And I know you guys can't see my screen, but I wasted almost all of my energy just shocking them from the initial capacitance. That's not energy efficient at all.
And that's even with efficiency, right?
Yeah, that's with efficiency, so that's saying something. Like, honestly, I think Volt has potential. He's a very fun frame,
yeah,
but the cap on him just hurts him so bad. It really hurts him.
I mean, initially what they discussed with D. Scott is that the fourth power would not have a cap, and what it would do is it would chain between enemies and just slowly spread, and while it spread, the more enemies affected by it would enhance the damage. And then they didn't implement it. They said that that was too OP. I'm like, you know, that's OP. Yes, it'd be like a nuke frame, like, say, Banshee and Ember and Equinox Maim. But we allow those, but not this. So he literally loses out on what could have been an actual scalable ability because it took their damage in the amount of enemies. And I'm sorry, if we're doing survival with duration and range and damage, that could have been very effective to keeping everybody alive. As well as farming.
Oh yeah, no, like if Volt had no cap on his damage and he was brought into survival, he would be amazing. Because he's able to keep people locked down.
Yeah, but as of now, he's kind of lackluster in that area. Even though I still love playing him, there are times where it's like, yeah, I wish I could have done, you know, some more damage, or they could have gone somewhere with this, because what I'll have to do normally is I'll run the Jack Tag with its augment, so when I deal damage to enemies that are shocked with condition, it takes that effect and scales damage. I'll do like one big hit. So it's just kind of
Luckily, the only saving grace for Volt is that he's still relatively effective against Corpus.
Yeah.
Because look at this.
I mean, he's just barbecuing.
These guys are level 75 and he's still barbecuing them. You can't do that with Grineer enemies. So Volt is still he's still great against Corpus.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still relevant. And like the damage is a lot less negligible against Corpus. But
it's still
once
visible.
You hit a certain point, yeah, it's still visible, it's still noticeable. But as you saw, we melted through those fusion MOAs super quickly, so he works, but there's a lot of potential that he's withholding. And honestly, I would like to see the day where he gets that cap removed. Because I love my Volt. Volt's a super fun frame to play. Especially if you use like the Furix Wraith or something, or just like a fist weapon, cast his speed and just go around fisting people to death. Oh my god, it's just beautiful. I said that, and I heard it after I said that. That sounded really weird.
It's okay.
Don't mind that.
No, we don't mind that at all.
I think we should move on to the next frame.
No. Let me talk about the Gundao now, since I have it out.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Okay, throw up some enemies over here, hundreds.
Corpus Grineer.
Grineer. Give me some heavy bombards. Okay, so for those you don't know, in one of our last updates here on Xbox, we did get the Guandao in its little set. Now the Guandao is probably one of the best looking polearms in my opinion. I really like it. I like the style. It's very fashion framey. It's got metals and all that good design. If you can see it clearly around my Volt, but it just didn't compete with, say, the Vacor Sidon. You could still just use a Vacor Sidon and be better than it, or even the Legion. And they're not as visually nice, in my opinion, as, say, this weapon. This weapon is mainly a status-themed weapon, or not sorry, status, a crit-themed weapon, which, with its stats and everything, looks good on paper. I had a very good hope for it.
But it did look like its stats were promising.
Yeah, so as you can see,
but
even with
then
my
it turned
pressure
out to be a
point, blood
disappointing
rush,
stick.
yeah. There are ways to make it relevant, as I'll demo over here with these guys. These are bombards, they're pretty heavy duty. So just one strike, you'll see I'm doing only a few hundred damage. And it starts to scale up. I'm no status on this weapon, this is pure slash, people. So I'm doing okay amounts of damage, as you can see. And the main buff to this is because of condition overload. Without that mod and primed reach would help this because you'll get headshots. As you can see, you can deal some decent damage. Now if you want to just straight up erase enemies with condition on it, as Grim just showed, throwing up status, or even what I like with my Volt with it was Staticore, I can literally just pop these enemies in a few seconds. And that's a 2.5 combo. So overall, it has potential. It still can be relevant, but in all honesty, just besides
there's better options.
Yeah. Besides looking,
there's much better options.
So I do hope they come to readdress this. Okay, so we're going.
It's a relatively new weapon. I imagine they'll touch it up later.
Well, they are saying that there'll be some new polearm stances coming soon, or a stance per one of the devs during 10.0 con.
I did see that they on the dev stream they did announce 4 new stances. A polearm stance was one of them.
Yeah. So one of the things that with polearms, as you can see, they pretty much just, even with this, they all have almost the same stance kind of style of attack, which isn't bad, but they don't really apply much procs, and that's where condition overload, if you were trying to play that way, would have really saved this stance. So if it did a lot of bleed, because this is a slash weapon, that could be very effective.
Love how Volt works. He looks so nice.
Well, he's one of the fun spellcaster type frames, and I usually don't like the male frames, and even I enjoy my Volt.
Yeah, Mac has like a heavy bias against male frames, which I find ridiculous because I never understood why people do that. It's like if it works, it works.
I just don't like being a bulky tank. I've never liked that kind of feel.
Well, not every male frame is a tank though.
Yeah, that's what I said. There are a few males I do enjoy, like Excal, Oberon, and I don't like Rhino or Loki. But Loki's because I have insane bias against
your personal beef.
Yeah.
Your Loki situation is like my Excalibur situation.
Yeah,
it just doesn't work.
Yeah, we'll accept each other's issues with them.
We'll accept each other's issues.
Yeah, so we're gonna go over Sarin.
We're gonna have to cover this specifically.
Yeah. Okay, so first up with Sarin is Spore as her first ability. Now, when Spore is active, it puts these little tiny bubbles all over an enemy, as you can clearly see.
Can't really see them that well.
I can see them. I put mine on it. As you can see, these little bubbles appear, and when you pop them, one, if popped, will spread to the enemies around it. If they are popped, they apply viral, and they will put 3 on the next one. So if one is popped, that's 3, so they kind of scale factor out. So as you pop
what's
them,
also nice is once they run out of duration, they pop. And once they pop, they spread even further without needing any further assistance from you.
Energy.
Yeah, without any recast, as well as the causal AoE blast that does some decent damage.
And
so it's fairly nice.
HP.
Also, Mac, I'm gonna have to request that you take off your Kavat.
Oh, you don't like Xerxes?
Well, no, it's just that it hurts if we're doing something and they fuck it up by moving or shooting somebody.
Let me take Xerxes off. Okay. Xerxes
Yeah.
is good. He is gone. Now, one of the next powers has synergy with the first power, which is Spore. So Molt and Spore, Molt is this, you can apply spores to your Molt. As you can see, one hit to this, you just kind of spread them out and just kind of shredded that.
It definitely, if you can't find a specific enemy and you have enough range on your Spore, or on your Molt, or no, yeah, on your Spore,
Yeah.
you can essentially just cast it on your Molt and then hit it, and then spread it from there. So that way anybody that you didn't know was there will get affected, so at least you know where they are.
Also, when it
Although,
decasts,
in most cases...
You're forgetting, when it decasts, the Molt will also apply toxic to your Spore, so that way Spore also grabs toxic and viral and spreads it out, so you're getting 2 ticks of damage types going on, which directly damage health. Granted, one by
which is great if you're going against a Corpus.
Yeah. Corpus or any just flesh-based enemy. Especially with the viral on the flesh-based. So...
she's great if you're going up against infested. Infested.
Mm-hmm. Can you throw some over here and I'll show another little trick. Okay, so one of the tricks is if you have Spore, you throw a Molt, you can put Spore on Molt, and then you can decast and grenade it to cause toxic also. But if you have something like this, you can just spam it, and if you have like regenerative Molt, the augment, spamming that will actually accelerate the healing capability. It will not increase.
Oh my god, yes. Regenerative Molt is like one of the most useful augments she has, just because it can save your ass so quickly.
It provides innate healing, which is really good. So if you had, say, what is that other mod?
Which one, Rage?
No. Well, yeah, Rage on her is a good thing, but let me grab what I'm trying to remember. Healing Return, because she has so many statuses going up with that. Really will help.
Yes, that one.
I guess I'll demo my build really quick. This is just a mix combo of Spore and melee. It's just a half Z. Anyway, her 4th power is Miasma, and this is one that's always been kind of brought up in the community on a few different factors. Before and after the rework. You want to talk on this, Grim? Like your opinion?
You're talking on Healing Return, are you?
No, I'm talking about Miasma. Miasma.
Oh, for some reason I thought you were like just pronouncing Azima wrong, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right, that's what her 4th is called. Okay, I had a little bit of a brain fart, my bad.
It's okay. No,
you can go ahead and talk about it. It's okay.
Okay, so Miasma, her 4th power, when you cast it, does an AoE of Corrosive, which is great, and synergizes with the rest of her kit. So if you have, say, Viral and Toxic on an enemy and you cast her Miasma, demo please, so I just ran out of energy, you will actually deal more damage. Now this is a damage over time, unlike most, so not only does it do damage straight off, but the longer it's up, the more damage you shall do. Go replenish my energy.
It really starts hurting them if you can cast it multiple times.
Well, it also resets the timer.
It resets the timer, but it's great because with if you synergize all 4 of her abilities, you can start casting Viral, Toxin, and Corrosive, which is essentially enough for any of the enemies you'd come across.
It also
Sarin's
stun
great
while it was
for any of the factions.
So it gives some CC.
Which
when
allows
it
you to just get
casts
up close
it
and
also
personal.
will pop Molt, no matter what you do.
Yeah, it does too much damage, so at least to Molt for some reason.
Push him up
Is
to
that a floating head over there? That's a floating head over there. That's funny.
No, what? I don't see a floating head.
Push him. It's on my screen. I found out that last stream, right in the beginning, it turns out that you weren't really shooting at anything. It's just that my screen was being stupid, and it just showed you constantly firing. So.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll talk on her
Some
next.
things are not shown.
Power. So Toxic Lash is her 3rd power, and I bring this up because all the other powers should be kind of done in that order. 1, 2, 3. Or 1, 2, 4, I'm sorry. Now her 3 should be cast before the others. Why? Well, it applies Toxic to your melee. It grants you, when you're getting shot, damage reduction to whatever weapon you're doing. So if you have a weapon like, say, my machete here, click is all. When that's active, I can reduce damage by 9%. Very handy. It also will pop Spore. Now when Spore is up and you pop it, you'll actually get energy back. So basically it helps you spread spores and get your energy back in return.
Don't forget it also increases your damage slightly, as it has a damage multiplier.
Yes. And so with all these status procs and her innate passive, which is to increase status duration, really should consider putting Condition Overload on whatever melee you have, and Healing Return.
Condition Overload and, yeah, Healing Return. Yeah, we have the same mindset on that one.
Yeah, well, think about it. You don't have to waste your energy to heal. Now, granted, I'm pretty biased with Life Strike against Healing Return, because where Healing Return does do a lot without touching your energy.
Life Strike.
Life Strike is based on the percent of damage, so I've had it where I was getting shredded by 150s. I only had 2 health every time I was hitting, but I could still kill everything and walk away without having any enemies attacking me. So there are benefits. But it does it out.
It doesn't heal much, but it does save you.
That's my thing. You literally with her.
If you have, at least if you have a fast hitting melee weapon and Healing Return, you'll get energy back fast enough that it shouldn't be a problem, as long as you know, are on the move. Because if you just stand still, you're gonna die.
Yeah, so I mean, that's why you pop Molt with her, so you can get kind of a, what's the word? Aggro going behind you, run away a little bit, pop again.
Yeah, because the threat level will focus on the, it'll focus on the Molt. So you won't have to worry about them coming after you particular unless you start attacking the group.
Now another synergy with two Sarins is I can actually put spores onto your Molt and you can do it vice versa. So as you can see, you can overlap the total number of spores onto a single Molt. It's an interesting trick.
Oh yeah.
And when you pop it, you actually pop my spore. So it's a way, so if one Sarin was focused more on area effect, my spores would then take on the characteristics of yours because it's on your Molt. I don't know why it works that way, but it's pretty useful. So I've had Spore Sarin on mine as a guard before. It was pretty effective.
Sarin has always been a lovely frame to use. Like it just feels nice to use her.
Yeah, after aware. But there have been a lot of, what is it? You know, arguments within the community about her 4. Initially, her 4 was really strong, but it would plateau.
Well, that's the thing. Is it used to be a she used to be a press 4 to win Warframe.
Yeah, but it plateaued.
Or all you had to
like,
do,
what, 80?
It had a hard cutoff, but you could do a lot of damage and proc so much stuff in one go with her Miasma. So they reworked it, and then everybody was kind of, you know, salty about that. But honestly, I think she's in a pretty decent spot right now. She could use a little bit of quality of life tweaks here and there, but she's doing pretty good on her own.
Right. One of the things that everybody I know that just hates on Miasma is before being just a flat damage. Now, because being damage over time, the more spores, the more procs you have active, is kind of how you deal damage with her. And then you just, like, right before your Miasma decast, you recast it, just reset the procs, and then keep going. So what I do to scale things a little quickly is I use the Sobek with Acid Shells. Yep. Acid Shells scales the corrosive, plus with the viral spores around, that reduces their actual total health less than their original health down to the percentage of what this does. So I basically usually will like one-shot one enemy and it just chain kills everything, spreading my spores, dealing an AoE from the, I believe, Steel Meridian augment I have on it. Blast, further popping spores and granting health. I mean, it's a very nasty combo. And if you have something like, say, the Pox, Mutilus Senros, Torrid, which do these gas effects, and you put your Molt on it and then throw spores, it instantly pops them. And will also apply Toxin to an enemy who runs into it. So it helps your aggro system stay a little longer against melees. So I think that's a good summation of her.
Yeah. She's a aggressive little mushroom. That's pretty much the basic way to put it.
So true. Okay, should we move on to, say, the next frame?
I do say we should.
So the next frame we shall be talking about is Titania, however you want to call her.
I say Titania.
I call her Titania.
I think the devs call her Titania. I don't really know too many people that call her anything but that.
I think it's because they didn't actually. They don't know Midsummer's Night Dream or the whatever. I think Rebecca. Yeah, Rebecca was initially the one at PAX and whatnot who called her Titania. Then that name shipped with DC, and it was like it was the name before we even got it. It was just so focused.
Yeah.
It was just so hyped, I should say. They wanted that canon with Oberon, Waifu, to go.
Mm-hmm. What?
So, waifu. It's wife material. Wife, etc. So, Grim here is demoing the Solstice skin on her, which looks very nice. This is a skin from Christmas, I believe. And it was an armor set.
No, buddy.
Specifically tuned for her. Got some Celtic knots in it, some glow effects. It's very, very pretty. I'm also demoing that too in a different color. So his is what it looks like standardly. This is the metal tints and what you can get onto it. It's a very nice skin.
I like the Sayandana. The Salix Sayandana was always one of my favorites, so when they created Solstice Sayandana for it, I was very happy.
Mm-hmm.
But the overall armor set just looks nice too, so it's all good.
Okay, so let's go talk about
How was that sound?
That was my Dex Fierce. I just was shooting. Okay.
She's got a interesting little
Yeah.
passive that doesn't really do too much of anything, but it's still relatively nice. What the fuck happened there? Oh, do you have the fire leap on yours?
Nope.
Or did we just knock him down?
That's just knocked down.
Oh, okay, I know what happened. I know what happened. Okay, we can continue. I know what happened.
Anyway.
I'm gonna go on ahead and cast
her passive
first.
is you put a light trampoline, so allies and yourself who re-land in that spot and use bullet jump get an enhanced range and bullet jump. It's pretty useful.
It's nifty. It's not. Like, I remember there was like a whole speculation on when she first came out about that, where it's like, this is her passive, this is what she got.
It's actually
It's
very
like, it's
synergistic
okay.
with her kit too, because it's
Yeah,
all
it
about
works.
being in
It works
air.
well. Works well.
Okay, so
What are you doing, dude?
I'm just shooting them. I don't know.
Stop.
I don't like that enemy. It's a rage. So her first power, as you see, throws them up in the air, and I believe this is Spellbind, right?
Yeah, it's Spellbind. It just kind of ragdolls everybody.
The other benefit is if you cast it on near yourself and an ally, it removes status procs. So it's pretty useful. CC holds them in air.
Other than that, though, it doesn't really do much of anything.
It doesn't really synergize with the rest of her kit. Her second power is
It
Tribute.
helps get people off you, though.
That's true. As you can see, Tribute summons the soul of the enemy you cast it on and gives you a random buff based on that enemy. Now, you're the only one who can pick it up, not your ally, but your ally, depending on the thing that is given as a buff, will also benefit. So say what I pulled right
I
now
didn't
is
get
a
any
slow.
buff.
Well, this one is more of an AoE that I will emit when I get it. It slows
Oh,
all
gotcha.
enemies. It's Tangle.
Yeah,
It does help.
Depending on the enemy, you get there's one of 4 buffs that she can give. It's been a while since I've used her, so I don't remember what all of them are exactly. I remember one boosts your companion's damage. One was the one that Matt got where it slows down enemies. One reflects a portion of the damage taken back to attackers. I believe that one's Thorns.
Yeah.
And then there was a
Reflection.
third one that I don't quite remember what it does.
It's kind of like another. I think it reduces accuracy of enemies, I believe.
Yeah, it reduces accuracy of enemies. And then with Thorns, you get that off of melee-based enemies. Tangle, you get based off of enemies such as the Bombard, heavy enemies.
It slows them down.
Yeah, the one for companions you get off of enemy companions such as the Drak or Kavats. Or Hayakas or whatever the hell they're called. And then I forgot how you got the other one. I think it was if you do it to robotic enemies.
I believe so. Yeah.
But what is good about Tribute though, other than the buffs, is that after you take the Tribute off of them, if they survive, for the duration of their life, they're weakened. So they won't do as much damage. Which is good if you got a priority target, but you should be able to kill them.
Yeah.
Oh, also, that's you're using Lantern right now.
Mm-hmm.
Hold up. If we're gonna showcase this one properly, I wanna just stay over there, because I want to showcase this one properly. So I'm gonna make you immune, just so that way you're good. Okay, go ahead.
I think mine just bugged.
Here, let me then, because you're doing it way too much.
Yeah.
Oh no, it works.
Okay.
So essentially, what it's doing is it draws in all enemies that are near it. I thought they shot at it before.
No, they just they've always done this where they just kind of stand around like idiots near it. Now with the
okay.
augment,
Well, essentially, it causes a blast.
yeah,
It
when
causes
you
a
detonate.
blast that you can detonate them to.
So that's some CC. It's actually pretty decent damaging skill.
Yeah. It's not going to be that great against the level 150 Bombard as we're showing, but that's not why we're demonstrating that.
The only downside of it is you and your allies cannot damage the enemy that is affected by that power. So when you affect
that's
it,
the one thing.
as you can see, you can shoot him. He just kind of detonates and slashes enemies. It's pretty decent for that, but overall it's kind of a very lackluster ability. It only pulls enemies within a certain amount of range, and you can't really buff that range up too much. With the augment giving you melee bonus is nice, but it's really a waste because it's only 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, you really have to factor on weapons that are quick at tearing apart enemies anyway, so why even do that? That's just a waste of a mod, in all honesty.
Hopefully, whenever they get around to reworking her, they can fix her up a little bit. I'll demonstrate her next power.
Okay.
Let me make it so that way they don't move around.
The only problem was, say, all her powers, she can actually really hurt frame drop on PCs. Because the butterflies will actually scale, like when I cast it on him, he'll get these little glowing butterflies. I'll get glowing butterflies. Then you cast her other powers, they put glowing butterflies. Pick up a tribute, you get glowing, but it's just butterflies everywhere. I believe they reduced the amount.
That enemy's flown off.
I believe they reduced the amount now, but it still can be a problem.
You need to stop killing the enemies that I spawn in for demonstration.
Sorry.
You're a really bad habit of that. Did you want to get closer? It might be hard to see. Like
Nah,
maybe stand over here.
I'm fine. Go for it. So when you activate her fourth power, you become Mini Titania, which is basically an Archwing.
You become a Pixie, don't get that shit correct.
It's basically Archwing. Now, when you activate it, you, number one, get these little razor butterflies. They swarm around, slashing enemies. They deal okay damage, as you can see, against even these bombards, but it's kind of pointless against them. They also provide aggro away from you, so when you're in this flying state, they'll attack.
Sorry, I'm having fun flying in freeform.
It's based on original Archwing, so it's actually pretty easy to just fly around as. Not.
Well, it's just nice that you're able to like go and actually fly about in general. It makes traversing harder areas, such as the Kuva Fortress, a little bit easier.
Yeah, but the only downside
fly around it.
to it is it does not engage Aviator, which is kind of a problem.
Yeah, I don't understand how that's possible. I mean, it's like we're literally flying.
Floating in midair, can't use Aviator. It does no benefit. None of the in-air damage reductions or evasions work on her.
Now, I want to point out that I'm going to do this on the left band of enemies, but her Dex Pixia, the weaponry you get in her Razor Wing Arc form, actually pretty powerful ability. It's not, you know, the best thing.
But it's
but
a good.
If you can see, it's easily able to shred 150 Bombard. So.
Yeah, as you can see with mine, it just pops them in seconds.
And then her melee is actually half decent as well. So I've never understood why people say it's bad. It's like it's not the most amazing arc melee, but
it does decent damage.
Stuff going on.
And it
does decent damage.
And it, unlike most of the other what do you call them? Ultimate melee types like Excalibur, Wukong, and Valkyrie. She is the only one that can use the Shadow Det melees currently with that, like Blood Rush and Maim. Though Maim is kind of pointless, Blood Rush with her can actually be rather useful.
Yeah, because you can't really slide attack while you're an Arcwing.
Mm-hmm. The one good thing about the Dex Pixie is Life Strike, Healing Return also work with it. So flying around hitting enemies who are status proc rather help you. So it's kind of smart to plan ahead that way. Now, as for her
Just make sure you choose your mods carefully.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Unlike
The
most
stuff like if you do not remember, things like Rivens will not apply to it.
Yeah, Rivens don't apply to it. But one of the things that is really good with it that most people have found is Shotgun. Shotguns
Oh
are
yeah,
pretty
Tiger's
effective.
Prime plus Dex Pixie is like just beautiful.
I use the Sancti Tigris because AoE. I like
The
crit.
what?
Sancti Tigris?
Did you
New
say
look.
Sancticurus?
Sancti Tigris. Gave it a little
Oh, okay.
accent.
I thought you were having a stroke or something. God.
No, I gave it like a little
Okay.
Latin twist. I usually
You're
use
white,
viral.
dude.
I use viral and slash with it. When you activate it with viral and slash, and even shred, as you see, shred will punch through, deal damage to multiple enemies, but with shred on, it also amps up the reload speed. So it's rather nice to have that in synergistic. So prime shred is going to be a nice thing on her.
Oh, it is. I can vouch for that.
That's very nice. I'm just using standard shred. But viral
No,
and slash,
remember I have Prime Shred, so
Yeah,
I can vouch for that.
I'm a few days away from that. But with viral and slash on it, in my opinion, has been a very effective build. I've used it since I got her, and it's been very effective. One of the other things that's good is you can.
Well, that's
clutch
because
save.
slash scales, so of course it works pretty well.
Yeah, it applies. She her Dex Pixie is also an equal crit and status weapon. It's more like the Aka Stiletto Prime, right? If I remember how its stats are.
I can check that for you.
No, that's fine.
Keep talking.
I'm just saying I
I'll check on it for
believe
you.
it is like that. So when you're shooting at enemies as such, it's shredding, it stuns them, it's got impact, slash, puncture. So it's putting a lot of procs
Stiletto
on.
Prime is... Oh, fuck. It is 30% status, 15% crit.
Yeah, I believe it's similar to that. So you still get a good crit chance, but it's more status. So the viral and slash together, you're basically doubling your damage every shot. Because viral nicks away their health, slash nicks away the health, and it just further amps it up. So it's pretty fun. Her only real drawback in her entire kit is she really has no healing. She's very buff, CC oriented, very...
Well, that's the thing, is
Yeah.
that with Titania, is she's based around mobility, especially her fourth, considering you can actually cast the other 3 abilities of hers while you're in Razorwing mode. So what I think they expect you to be doing is they expect you to always be in Razorwing mode for some ungodly reason.
Well, that is
And
the center of her kit.
staying away from enemies. I
Yeah,
think that's what they intend, is that you're supposed to be staying away from enemies. So they don't have her based on healing, because otherwise she'd be too powerful.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. If she did
I know,
get
I'm using
some
that
sort
word
of...
very generously, too.
Yeah. But, again, we'll get other frames that are just destructive nukes, so I don't see how they would balance...
Oh, yeah.
They're very odd in how they rationalize. Well, we can't make that one too strong. But that one can be uber.
That one can be a nuke! That
I just like the
one-
Dex Furus with her, because when I'm in Dex Pixia, it just switches really easily between. I don't know why.
Okay.
Plus, I like the little lotus symbols. Pew, pew, pew.
You like the little lotus symbols?
I do like the little lotus. When you shoot them, you see little lotus symbols spam around it. It's got little lotus on the back. It's very nice.
It's cute.
Now, for those of you who don't know, there is the next Tennogen round, Tennogen round 10, you will get the Unseelie Tennogen for her, I believe. It's rather dark and scary looking. I like the look.
I haven't seen it yet, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It gives her some nice glow effects. But overall, I think the Just issue with her kit is scaling factor. The only real scale power, I guess you could say, is her Dex Pixia and even her Diwata, which is her melee. Because the butterflies themselves don't really do it. Okay, so next up we got Atlas. And I will
He's
let
a great
Grimsley.
frame.
I'll let Grimsley do that. And
End
I'll
of
just,
story. He's a great frame.
and I'll just be the floating camera.
Do that.
'Cause I will defer to you on Atlas. Not one I like.
No.
And I pretty
You don't
much
like
use-
Atlas?
No. Tank frame, don't like it.
But you've
Sorry.
seen. It's not a tank frame. He's a
Tank
brawler.
frame. Big bulky man.
Hey,
Not,
look,
not my thing.
Big bulky man.
Not my thing.
All
Sorry.
right. So first, I would love to point out that his first has just infinite scaling, and it's just such a wonderful ability. Oh my
Just like-
god! Just
Now that enemy's actually giving
I'm
you some
gonna-
trouble. That one was giving you trouble. You like
Yeah.
nuke the rest, but that one that you're actually targeting was actually.
well, no. Okay, so I have his path of path of statues augment on, which temporarily like freezes enemies that are within my range. And usually, if I get directly up close to an enemy, they get stun locked into it. So that guy he wasn't giving me trouble. He was getting the normal amount of damage everybody else was. It's just that he was frozen in place, taking the damage.
Mm. Now one of the things
Yeah.
that's really
It's a
beneficial
super
is he's
useful
another.
augment for him.
Isn't he another one that uses melee mods for his first? I believe.
I believe he does.
Yeah.
I don't
so
think he does, but I believe
I
he
believe
does.
so. That was what they
So
discussed in
what
the dev with
helps
him.
is, in addition to the power that is in his first ability, if you use his third ability and then go smashing them, it does additional damage. As well as, overall, it's just so much more satisfying to just strike down helpless enemies. I don't know if Mac's catching it, but you can see that I'm also doing slightly increased damage to them because they're already stoned.
Yeah, I've got it. I'm just your little eye in the
So
sky.
it helps Atlas get going if you turn them into stone and then start wailing on them, and that goes for his fourth ability too, Rumblers. Is if you cast this ability on them. Why are those two guys already? Oh, okay, I think I know why. If you cast Orge, what? They were stoned a second ago, and now they're not stoned. Make up your mind. If you cast his Rumblers, they'll do additional damage to these guys as well. They don't do that much to these particular guys, but just trust me, in a normal game, these guys are great for just getting some of the heat off you, as well as killing some of the
Yeah,
guys.
they
that are giving you,
aggro, they do
trouble.
damage. They're pretty useful.
And
They
they're
also
also
provide-
ranged.
And with its augment,
It's
when
funny,
you put in
though,
the
because,
statues, don't you get loot capability if you want to try that route to farm?
That's if you're using Orgaze, not Rumblers.
That's what
Rumblers
I mean.
is
With the
augment,
Orgaze
just
and then
turns into
together, you
gigantic.
can basically be a self-farming frame, or farm with your companions.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Necros.
Although I would recommend that you still have one of the other 3 farming frames with you if you're gonna do that, but it's not 100% necessary. Now I want to talk about tectonics real quick, but I gotta make it so these guys move.
Okay.
So here's the thing about tectonics: is your razor flies are kind of giving these guys trouble. So here's the thing with Atlas's tectonics: is while he's primarily a rumbler, like I guess that's what they call him, like a brawler, he is able to at least hold off doorways with his second ability, which makes it nice because you can pass through the tectonics, but enemies can't pass through his tectonics. So you can at least hold down a doorway in case you're getting too overwhelmed. Like if Mac would come over here real quick.
I am here.
If Mac would come over here. Oh, you're like way over there for me.
I'm right behind you.
I don't see you. You're up there for me.
Lag.
But if you use lag. If you use bulwark here or tectonics, Like, imagine this was just a doorway instead of these douches being around here.
It's a good lockdown.
Is you would at least be able to hold it. Yeah, it's a good lockdown, so you can at least prevent them from getting by. And then if they're still giving you trouble, you can cast it again on it, and you can cause a boulder to spawn.
That actually moved me. That was interesting. I didn't know it could move your allies.
Yeah.
So apparently, if your allies are in your way,
great
also you can just push them away too. Get the hell out of my way. Indiana Jones style push.
Exactly. Honestly, like all in all, he's a fun frame to use. He's powerful.
He's destructive.
He's a very destructive warframe, but that's another thing, is that with his passive, is he's great against the Corpus because they can't knock him down. He's immune to knockdowns, so you can walk through laser grids with him, and he won't be affected. You can get hit by shockwave moas, you can't be affected. As long as you're not in the air,
Though there is that bug currently,
to knockdowns.
I will point out, there is a bug currently that even if you're standing and you're hit by like wave attacks, like say the fire one, you won't be knocked down, you'll just be pushed up and then land. It does happen. It's very weird.
Okay.
Just stand
I didn't
there.
know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's a very odd bug that does occur. You don't get damaged.
When
you just get pushed up.
You don't get damaged, you just get pushed away. It's weird looking.
It's rather
one
odd.
thing that there's only like one major thing that bugs me about Atlas, other than the fact that he skipped leg and arm day, and it's that he's got a thumb head.
He has no neck.
Dude's got a thumb head. He has no neck. He is like all torso.
Just hold still. I was trying to get a.
It's fine. Gosh. He's just all torso.
Yeah, one of the problems.
You can kind of fix this.
Yeah.
They're not helping with that. They're kind of making him no neck. I really want just like a fuzzy, like mossy, like Shadow of the Colossus Atlas. That's honestly what I want. But what I was gonna say though is that there's only one, technically two, but I don't count the Totterus helmet. The Telemon Atlas helmet, which I'm equipping on him right now, is like the only Atlas helmet that actually gives him a neck.
Yeah, that one actually had a lot of special exceptions made. One of the things is I'm on the Tenogen Artist Discord. I talk with them a lot, and even Kaz. The issue with Atlas is because of that no neck, they do allow model alteration to around his neck area, so you can actually alter the physical body as well as the head specifically for him and him alone. He's one of the only frames that they allow that pass.
That's funny.
Because they're like, yeah, he has no neck, so yeah, you kind of have to alter the body to actually make him look decent.
Yeah.
I remember when the artist was making that helm. He was having a hard time on some things, but end result looks really good.
Oh yeah, no, like it looks great.
Actually, it does make him look half bad. And we all know I'm biased.
I still want a Shadow of the Colossus Atlas. I have like a fashion frame on him that's like the closest I can get. But I really hope that some Tenogen creator eventually makes like a skin for it that's like influenced off that.
But currently DE are only accepting the scary, dark, evil-looking Tenogen. So after that's all
I don't know if anybody's noticed. But we've been doing these frames in terms of like utility. So like the stronger frames are near the end of the video here. So which is why I'm switching to this buddy boy right here.
Oberon. I guess I'll switch to me Ober.
Oberon Prime is in a great spot right now. Like with his recent rework, they did an amazing job on him. Like, I loved Oberon before his rework, but I always thought he could use some help, like similarly to Hydroid. They knocked it out of the park with Oberon. Like, they just completely made him relevant again. Like, to the majority of people. Because, like, I knew, like, next to nobody that used Oberon other than me before his rework. But post-rework, it's like a lot of people use him nowadays, and it's like, oh my god, he's a great frame now.
Well, the real benefit to him now is he's not such a skill frame. I'm sorry to say he was.
No, he was a heavy skill frame before, but now he's actually doing some.
You had to know what
you
were doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I'm demoing.
So I'll go ahead and start off.
And he's got the Prime
Are you
version.
downrange deluxe?
Yeah, when you walk with the Deluxe, you get little leaves, by the way. It's funny.
So first things first is that Oberon is a jack of all trades, as he says, so he's good at a little bit of everything.
Yep.
Yeah. So first off, his first ability is based on not only self, like single target CC, but also once the additional orbs get going, it does some minor CC for any enemies that are nearby. In this case, it'll radiate all of them.
Great range. It's probably the
yeah,
really,
it has beautiful range.
the only sniper first power, and it scales based on, I believe, the enemy's health now. That was the one thing in the
yeah. One good thing about this though is that don't try to kill him. I'm still gonna be using these guys.
No, I was just trying to show off how it works. Is it will keep attacking and also apply weaken, which is a status proc. So as we know, with status procs, condition overload is a good thing on him.
Yeah, status proc's a condition overload. That's like all you need to know. But like Oberon is a king of just like he's a king of procking. He is a king of radiation. So he's able to kind of just get everybody to go away from him in case you really need like a breather moment.
Yeah, good CC
Which
factor.
honestly you shouldn't really need. Yeah, he's great for CC. So then I'm gonna, speaking of CC, here's his major CC moves. I'm gonna move on to, God, I forgot they did that.
Yeah, so now they've done this where instead of just placing a single strip, you do this big area, and on both variations, I believe, you get leaves, and the leaves are determined by
they
power
have like
color.
Yeah. And the type of leaves you get is dependent on whether or not you're prime or regular. But see, okay, so here's the thing about this, is that in addition to radiating the enemies, Mac, if you'll stand where the missing guy is. Oh, he's standing right there, just stand right here. Is if an ally is within hollowed ground, if you cast his third ability, Renewal, you'll get additional armor.
Yep, pretty nice, because you get a good chunk of armor. When you decast it, it lasts for a little bit, too.
Yeah,
Nice
but the
amount of
great thing
duration.
is that most Oberons can be built to keep Renewal going, like mine.
With rage.
And when that's going, you can get permanent armor, like permanent armor buff, as long as they are able to keep their energy up. And I have arcane, like I have an arcane energize set on my Oberon Prime, so it's like energy is not an issue with him.
No, it isn't
Considering
really,
that mine is
especially if you do.
743
Mine's more of a
energy,
rage
he's
build, but
great with energy.
you can take damage all day with the armor and the regen up. It doesn't matter. You're just gonna sit there and just accept it. So like with mine,
and then I
get
have
red.
Yeah, you get red. I have the augment on his renewal, which does it's Phoenix renewal. So if you go down while you're under the effects of his renewal,
Instant
it
revive.
essentially acts as if you instant revive. It
Basically
happens
like
only once every
Wukong's.
90 seconds, but it works
once
pretty
you
well.
add
Yeah, but it's
trigger
for
it-
the team instead of just Wukong.
Yeah, but once you trigger it, it can bug to only where if one person triggers it, nobody else uses it. But that's a bug. It is supposed to be per the individual that dies. So like if I die, I'll have 90 seconds away, but Grim still has Phoenix still active. It's a pretty good capability. Yeah, I mean it provides
It's
good,
great for him.
good support for all the allies now. And he's pretty simple to build. I mean, you can get a very simple build going on him.
He's extremely well. Not only is he simple to build, but just like if you're a newer player and you wanted to get Oberon, he's extremely easy to get because most likely you'll get him
before Trinity. Yeah.
Not even. Yeah, before Trinity, because he just drops off. Oh, I fell. He just drops off Xmas units, so it's like you can get a very powerful frame very early on. Whether or not you have the mods to make him super powerful is a different
Up to
story,
you,
but
yeah.
I assume you have friends, so.
Yeah, and that's really
wink, wink.
Now for his fourth power, as if you'll demo, picks up, slams the enemies, and applies radiation procs. Now also it scales damage based on radiation proc, and I believe it's the number of radiation procs onto a target. So if you have his second, first, I believe going together, it's a pretty good synergy because first is damage based on the their health. Fourth is based on it, and now 4 also removes armor. And I believe its scale removes armor now, which is a good factor. It didn't do that initially in the rework, but they did fix that. Now, if you'll throw up some enemies, I will demo my. I think I have the augment for 4 on, which is one I like to mix with his 2 and 3. So when you cast his 4 with my augment, no, I guess I don't have it on. Give me did you have it on by chance? I will just go grab it.
Which one?
The 4th augment.
Oh, hey! Whoa. So, with Smite, Hollowed Ground, and 3 Reckonings, it only takes 3 Reckonings to strip level 150 Bombards completely of their armor.
That's interesting.
I don't know if you saw that, so I'll do it
please
again.
redemo. I was trying to equip the mod on. Anyway,
I wasn't even planning on doing that. I was just trying to get rid of them.
So I'll just
So
go here
that
and watch.
I'll show that off again because I didn't see that.
Yeah, so I told you that scale factor for armor now is really good, especially for new players.
Up 2. 2. Did 2, not 3.
It's based on radiation procs, I believe now. So with radiation procs, you further increase that. Now here, let me grab.
And the fact that it stripped Bombard, or like corrupted Bombard armor so quickly, that makes him an amazing Warframe. Because that means that he's able to take out some pretty tough enemies super quickly. I don't know why, but I randomly thought that I heard a rare crate, and I started panicking. And then I was like, oh yeah, that's right, we're in Simulacrum.
That was what I'm after. Okay, I put on the wrong augment. Can you just summon some enemies so I could demo the augment?
Can I do what?
Spawn some, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Because we're having issues in Simulacrum where I can't spawn at his. Okay, so with the augment, when you cast it, it applies 100% radiation and does damage over time on top of it. So it's just, if you wanted to focus on damage, I just shredded through those, didn't I?
I wasn't watching.
The ones in the back here just literally vanish. That's a trick I found, but I won't go into that. When you apply the 4th augment,
he's pretty powerful.
when you apply the 4th augment, though, with his 3rd and 2nd in tangent, it provides additional armor if you stand where the eruptions of his 4th land. So if an enemy lands after I cast my 4, there'll be these little areas you stand in it, and it provides additional armor. So if you didn't have, say, enough to recast and grant yourself armor for your allies, it just is another way. It just is another method you can do. And
that gives my Iron Renewal additional armor too.
Yeah, it's a very nice augment. Also, enemies that are in the outer edge that aren't hit by said 4th power are blinded. But due to the duration, it's kind of hard to get to them because you can perform finishers, as can your allies. It's a pretty useful power. Gives a lot of benefits. Armor reduction, blinding, damage, CC, ragdoll.
Oh, God.
Whoa, what just happened over there? What is going on with your football?
It's arcane energize.
Wow.
I have renewal going, so it's just constantly picking up energy, and it just keeps rocking.
I don't have energize.
I've already picked up almost 20,000 energy, so this is kind of funny.
That's that'd be a really interesting effect in Captura, actually.
I can't summon energy orbs in Captura.
Yeah, no, but enemies can still drop them. And you can take damage.
Yeah, but you can't reliably get them to proc, and you can't reliably get Arcane Energized to proc either.
True.
Man, dude, that's funny looking. I never thought about doing that before, so that's pretty funny.
Now, I believe they also tweaked his passive. So before it was just all the allies would receive a revive or an extra revive. So now what it is allied pets receive health, armor, and shield buffs. In addition, your pet receives an instant revive. So they actually added to it now. So that's pretty nice. It's not just
actually, his prior passive was that all enemy companions would turn against their masters, and that essentially befriended any enemy like companion unit. So like feral enemies would attack as well.
Yeah. So it's actually pretty useful. So he has synergy with Kavats, Kubros, Sentinels. More Kavats and Kubros, though. And maybe the bird.
Well, Kavats, Kubros, Chargers, Hayekas, and Drax.
Yeah, the Helmuth, I forgot. I always forget
about. And then feral Kubros, feral Kavats. I think Skates, too. Those ugly manta rays.
I'm just saying. Like that. It's a more useful after that rework. It also does, if you know the mythology behind Oberon, His innate thing, one of his gifts that he received when he was born, is the capability to be beautiful, and anybody will love him and, you know, obey him.
And yet he's still married to Pixie.
That was only in what's his name's book.
I know. I'm making a joke. Because Titania is also in the game.
Yeah, I know. Because that waifu. Now, one of the things that always bothered me that I thought they could have added in an interesting way is his mythology is he can teleport to anywhere he wants, or I guess could be a bit.
That seems kind of. Yeah.
But I just thought they could have made it like a quick teleport, like Loki's, like just teleport Ash, you know, like a blink and a dash.
If you wanna talk more about quick teleports, I'd actually recommend Nezha. If we're gonna be talking about that.
Yeah, he does have some good capability there, but
Nezha's chakram can teleport him.
Yep, and deal damage and heal and all that other fun stuff. It's a good power.
Nezha is just an upgraded Rhino, and I don't like Rhino, but I like Nezha. So if that says anything.
I will ditto that. I'm just saying that was the only thing as somebody who's a mythology kind of buff fan of Oberon. But I mean, his other thing is he's got an arrow that can hit and slay any beast. So with his deluxe skin, you get this cool bow skin, which can work on the lens. Yeah, and I like it with the Senros.
He also got a good sword and shield skin too.
Yeah, for the Akin Brunt and all that. Which is fitting because his Prime variant here gets the Sylvan Aegis Prime, which is a mace and a shield. With the skin, you get a sword and a shield. So if those of you were kind of upset that that isn't a mace, you do have the option to change it via that.
Honestly, it feels a lot better as a mace, I'm going to be honest.
I don't know. I'm still prejudiced against it. Sorry.
I got used to it. I got used to Oberon Prime. I got used to just how he looks in general, so I'm
Goat
okay with
Prime.
it now. Honestly, I like that it's a mace because, like, with the stance Final Harbinger, which is, like, the best sword and shield stance, it just gives it more feeling when it's a mace. It feels more like it's being flung around with passion.
And with Oberon being kind of slow to start with that combo, you're just all over the place. I mean, look at this. I mean, I'm just walking and you're just flipping and hitting, and then you can cast powers while you're doing that. It's a very strong combo. So I see why they gave it to him.
Casting this, it's like just automatically able to get you super far.
Also, if nobody noticed, if you freeze frame or pause the video when he did that, you actually use your shield as a surfboard when you do this combo. You actually put your legs on it, kneel on it, and it spins in a circle while you hit.
You just start surfing on it. It's great.
It's hilarious.
If any of you have ever played Breath of the Wild, I've always wanted to do that in Breath of the Wild. It's the one thing you can't do in that game, and it makes me sad.
I actually have not yet to play it. Sorry to say.
It's a great game. Great open world game.
So, would you say we've covered all our time? Oh wait, we still have to cover your pistols.
Yeah, right? I wanted to bring up a little issue here. Because I wanted to talk about the Cycron, just really briefly. Before we started streaming last night, I randomly was looking around the weapons, and I was all like, what's something that I feel... Because we're talking about things that could use buffs. Or we're just talking about things that need help. Other than Oberon, Oberon's in a pretty good spot. Atlas, I don't think I brought it up, but Tectonics needs a tweak. So, I just wanted to bring those issues up. But with Cycron, me and Mac were talking, and we were thinking the entire time, it's a great idea of a gun.
Implementation?
But it has... Yeah, the presentation failed miserably. So, Cycron itself does decent damage. Okay? Does decent damage. Problem is that it has kind of a long reload, like to start up, since it has infinite ammo and works like an Arcwing weapon. And that gets in the way if you're in a firefight and you're out of ammo. Or a better example was I was actually quick leveling this thing up earlier, and this on Oceanum, I got invaded by a Red Veil, and it took me way longer than it should have to defeat them all because I had to keep waiting for this thing to reload. Now, as you can see on this guy, it works pretty well. It kills him pretty fast, but the Cyclone only has 20 ammo to start with, and with Prime Slip magazine, it only gets 31.
That's
and you can waste that pretty quickly. If you put Lethal Torrent on it, it already wastes 5 ammo a second. So if you put Lethal Torrent on it, it raises that up to 8 ammo per second. With 20 ammo at a time, and with a 2.5 reload speed, you're usually shooting a lot faster than you're reloading. And you're usually waiting on the reload for way too long. Now, ways that I felt this could be remedied, since it is a good weapon if it didn't have that, would be if they either upped the magazine, so that way it would feel like you're at least shooting longer than you're reloading. Like, Mac, what did we say? Like, what would be a safe barrier? Like 40, 50?
Yeah,
like 40
we were saying
ammo.
like 40, 60.
You said 60, but then I was like, that's a little much.
Well, I
was
see
thinking like
most
either 40 or
pistols
50.
that are like burning ammo fast have at least 60. So
I would say at least 50. 50 at least. I would say 50 for the Cyclone, just to make it feel like it wasn't reloading for so long.
It's literally like you're firing, and you're done. And then you have to wait.
Yeah, it's like...
It's like I'm firing. And then you're done. Then you have to wait. And if you
that's
fire
with an extended clip.
and if you're firing during the wait, when it starts to reload, you have to then wait again with a delay. When you were ready for reloading, you already triggered the reload.
I'm doing it from like when I fire to when the reload starts.
That was interesting. You like started shooting backward on my screen.
Like, see, that takes way too long.
Yeah, it's
especially
just
if you
not
run
an
out of
effective
ammo.
Weapon. Maybe that's why we really don't see any corpus using it. They'd be like, "Oh man, we have no ammo."
Well, look, I'll do it one more time. Is against an enemy as basic as a level 95 corrupted lancer. It still kills it relatively quickly. That's decent damage, but, it wastes the entire clip.
That's just one.
That's the entire clip on one enemy. Luckily, it does have the saving grace of having a 2.0 punch through. But what are the odds that you're gonna get 2 people behind each other and actually kill them at the same time? Unless they're like, it's a great gun, depending on the situation. If you're going for like a single enemy, it could work very well. If you're going against a group of really low or like lower level enemies, I was doing this on Oceanum and I was melting them pretty quickly. So if you're going on them at about like 30 to 40, you could easily take on a group with the Cyclone, no problem. But it's just, it's not gonna work. And I even have a Riven on mine. I have a Riven on my Cyclone that it's not even helping it that much. Like, it needs help. It needs either a bigger magazine or it needs a quicker reload time. I would prefer a bigger magazine because I don't want to be reloading that much.
Well, that's what it needs.
It's a great idea.
Maybe reduce
it's a great
delay.
idea for a weapon, but it's just a terrible, terrible thing to use because of that. Just wish that they were, you know, it was an experimental weapon. I get it, but it needs tweaks now. It's been out long enough. It needs some tweaks.
Yeah. One of the things I will point out back on Oberon, the thing that kind of bugs me is when you cast as 3 for healing, you get, no matter what, the default green aura effect around you and your allies. Which is kind of like, it just annoys me. It's like, you know, if you're, this is supposed to be customization. Fashion frame is in game. It just kind of.
I mean, dude, you got an orange Oberon. It still ish works.
Yeah,
orange
it
and
works,
green,
but I'd rather have,
you know, like autumn. It goes together.
Yeah, Autumn Lord here is perfectly fine. But it's just kind of, that's one complaint I remember people have put on about it. No matter what your energy color is, you get green. Eventually, I just was making that effect, and then, you know, if you have energize, you glitch and pick up orbs and make this sparking flash. It actually does look pretty intimidating, I will admit.
Oh yeah, it looks nice.
Especially if you're progging it multiply together, it makes all these little particles.
Looks like, it sounds like thunder.
It sounds like somebody shooting off stuff.
It seems nice. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. We're gonna continue brainstorming to see what we should come up with next time. If you're on Discord, feel free to let either myself or Mac know, and we can invite you into the Discord, and you can leave suggestions for future episodes.
Yep.
Other than that, I guess that we'll. Oh, are we switching back into our normal things? Oh, you said no.
I
You should've told
was
me.
sneakily.
Okay, well you're mean. Anyway, we'll see
That
you
should be
guys in the
known.
next episode. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next
Mhm.
time. I said that twice. I'm stupid.
It's okay. As Grim says, talk to you later. See you later, everyone. Best wishes from Grimsley Claws and Excalibur X.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. See you later.
Should have waved at the same time. Broke it. No, I'm sad.